Hello again, and welcome to a brief session on the SafeAssign anti-plagiarism software that we use here at Keiser University. Now, I'm sure that you've used it before. You may be very comfortable and familiar with all the options about how it works. However, I've found in the past that some people are using it, not quite sure what they're getting, and because every written assignment requires submitting through SafeAssign, I think it's a good idea just to present a little bit of background about SafeAssign, how it works, the information you get back, and then how to interpret the matching percentages that you get. And I'll say this again in the presentation, it's more than simply trying to catch plagiarism. It's actually trying to identify how much of the work is yours in terms of, have you written those words yourself, have you thought about it? And this is valuable to us as instructors because we're trying to get students, especially at the DBA level, to be able to think creatively about other people's work. Okay? So again, this won't last too long, and some of it may be very familiar to you, but I think it's just a good idea in the beginning of our classes to have a good common understanding about how we use this particular tool. Thank you.
The process that we're going to be going through applies to article reviews, discussion posts, at least your initial discussion post, as well as any papers that you've written. So just about all your written work will run through SafeAssign in the same format. Now the first step is to write your paper, of course, and include all your references, do your proofreading and any revisions that you're planning on doing. And when you feel like the paper is ready for checking by SafeAssign, then go to the View Complete and push that button. That will bring you to a page where you can now submit your paper. I'm using a sample here, and I've written in the comments this is a draft. And down in the area that says File to Attach, you need to browse first and then select the file that's going to be sent to SafeAssign. Okay, so you have to go to your computer wherever you've got it saved and then attach it along with this to go to SafeAssign, and then of course click the Submit button. Now when you're ready to review the results, you'll go again to the same spot, the same page, and click the View Complete button once again. And if SafeAssign has completely checked your paper, you'll have some numbers here, 72%, and you'll also have a check mark in the SafeAssign box under SafeAssign Report. If there's nothing there, if that's still blank, that means that SafeAssign hasn't finished checking your work against work that's available on the internet. So in the interim period, depending on how long your paper is, it might take 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 15 minutes. In the interim period, there's really not too much you can do except go and have a cup of coffee and come back and see if it's done. When it is done, you'll have a percentage there, in this case 72%. And what that means is SafeAssign found that 72% of what you submitted was sitting out there on the internet somewhere. Now it doesn't mean that you are plagiarizing, it simply means that something already out there exists, whether you think so or not. Now the SafeAssign report will actually tell us which parts of your paper or your article review or your post were found out on the internet. So you want to click on the little checkbox. And here I have a sample of a little thing I wrote up, and you can see down in the section under paper text, the area highlighted in blue is the material that SafeAssign found already exists on the internet. The parts in black were the parts that it couldn't find. That would be original material. Now, SafeAssign isn't saying this is necessarily plagiarized, because as long as I supply references, like I have in the first paragraph, where I have Brine 2011 page 497, I'm correctly referencing that material that I quoted. However, SafeAssign is saying that doesn't matter. It's out there on the internet. Okay, so it's important to understand this is not simply looking at plagiarism, it's actually checking how much of your work that you're submitting is original. In this case, it found that 72% of what I turned in was not original. Now this may seem a little bit odd and not what you expected. So the next question is, well, what can we possibly do about it? What you can do is go back to your original paper and start adding some more material. Original material, not quotations, not things taken from other sources, but rewriting some of your own material. And so what I did here was went in and added an extra paragraph, which, well, essentially redefined what the referenced material was saying, only in my own words. So I added a certain percentage of material that then would drop the overall percentage of matching material down to something that's more reasonable. Then I'm ready to go. I go back to my page on the assignment. This time I go down to the final submission. I again go to my file where I need to browse for the new document. Don't submit the old one, submit the new one. And we're going to then submit that to SafeAssign for the final draft. Waiting for SafeAssign to finish its work, I went back in and again ran the report. I didn't show the matching percentage. It had dropped somewhere to below 50%. Still not good enough. We like 20%, but certainly an improvement. But just essentially to show you how you go about changing your matching percentages. And so you can see here the new section that I wrote, the middle paragraph is now no longer considered matching material, and I should be happy with that. So, now you're done. SafeAssign only allows 2 student attempts, a draft and a final. If something happens, and sometimes things do happen, I've had situations where the initial draft was identified as already in the SafeAssign database and their final draft came back as 100%. If things happen like that, contact me and let me know that you need another submission or you need me to submit it for you, or we'll work out kind of some sort of an arrangement to make sure that you're not penalized for something that happens within the system. Okay. As I had mentioned a little earlier, we are looking for 20% as the maximum SafeAssign matching percentage. That will not include titles, journal references, author names, and other things that we know your SafeAssign is going to find. This is for the body of the paper. And the reason is we are looking for not just you going to the internet and copying or paraphrasing things and bringing them back into your paper. We're looking for original ideas, restating what the authors have said, using examples, applications, extending what the author we're talking about. But essentially you're supposed to be reading the material that you're referencing, thinking about it, and then using it in your papers in your own words. So this is basically how SafeAssign is going to work for nearly all your writing assignments. If you have any questions based upon what I've talked about here, be sure and get in touch with me, and good luck with using SafeAssign.